While some are born to feast, others spend their lives in the dark. Begging for scraps.
I've only been doing this show for about 3.5 months now, and this is already my third review of a live-action Disney remake. I honestly think that we might be about to hit breaking points thanks to oversaturation and just the generally tepid responses that these films are receiving. Dumbo was just no good, and while Aladdin did have some strong elements in it, it did feel like a lesser version of the original. So The Lion King is now make or break time. Disney needs to step up to the plate and prove that these films are not just weaker versions of the original with additional gloss and can offer something substantive to the source material. With the Lion King remake, they've at least provided a technical reason by using the same technology implemented in the new Jungle Book film. The film is essentially entirely CGI with no location filming or sets. It's essentially an animated movie just made to look live action, and the look is polished, brilliant, and all other adjectives that I could throw at it. However, this approach is held back by the actual artistic and creative storytelling decisions that make a movie a movie. See, computer-generated imagery is just a tool in the kit. You can have the greatest tools on the planet, but it doesn't matter what's in your toolkit if all you're going to do is make a bog-standard IKEA chair. The film's commitment to photorealism doesn't just amount to the look of the animals and their environments, but the entire aesthetic. Animals are mostly expressionless, there's nothing resembling an abstract image, the camera always feels grounded with the shots which are really basically composed, and the animals themselves never move in interesting ways. In fact, this comes across in the opening Circle of Life sequence, where this once defiant and striking image of Rafiki holding baby Simba can't be done in real life because mandrill monkeys don't have the lower body strength for it. So Rafiki just awkwardly sits and he holds Simba up, and it just looks a bit pants really. This self-imposed commitment to realism hinders the film on almost every level. I Just Can't Wait to Be King isn't remotely choreographed, it's just the characters running around in circles for 3 minutes. Despite James Earl Jones' incredible voice as Mufasa, the character just reads as bland, boring, and expressionless. Simba doesn't speak to Mufasa's abstract appearance in the clouds, he just speaks to normal clouds. Basically, imagine the original Lion King, but in 3D, where the characters look bored instead of full of life and with less interesting imagery, and you've got the Lion King 2019. I think the worst part is when Simba looks into the river and his reflection transitions from his own to his father's, but because the movie is so committed to the realistic vibe, it literally transitions from Simba's face to a slightly larger version of Simba's face, because unlike the stylized 2D animated versions, these new designs have no discernible difference between Mufasa and grown-up Simba, to the extent where I am genuinely amazed that no one in the production process watched this scene during the edit, or maybe even during previs, and thought, okay, we've made a mistake here, and then they reworked the entire concept. I'm astounded that that didn't happen. These people are paid millions of dollars to make these decisions, and they just didn't make them. Yes, the effects are incredible, but they're in service of an aesthetic which refuses to let the audience empathize or engage with these characters or the story that they're in. Not to mention, making a movie realistic doesn't mean it can't present vibrant or abstract or colourful images, or give you inventive camera work or moments of abstraction. Yeah, the look makes for incredible looking trailers, but carrying the audience through an actual story, scene after scene, shot by shot, line by line, the film's an abject failure. If they want to make it look and feel like a Disney nature documentary, then bloody go for it and actually commit to that framework. Shoot it all at a distance, don't give the animals voices, make it feel like an Attenborough documentary. Instead, it's just a lifeless film with no identity or any real goal other than making the Lion King movie again, but instead it's a really impressive looking tech demo reel. And before anybody asks, I loved the Jungle Book movie, which came out with a similar creative team a few years back. But what worked about the Jungle Book is that Mowgli was a human character to create a sense of contrast between him and the CGI characters visually. And secondly, the characters in that movie are just flat out more expressive, and the camera work is moving around with a hell of a lot more energy. I actually think that the Jungle Book remake is the absolute best of the bunch in terms of these live action remakes by a really wide margin. It's just a terrific film. But what ranks The Lion King below those strong remakes like The Jungle Book and Cinderella is that those films actually built upon the foundations of the story and gave them more potent themes. They updated those stories and made the characters feel more fully rounded. Here, the characters and story in The Lion King are more or less identical, but the film is 30 minutes longer, yet it's also absent a few scenes and set pieces. Be Prepared has clearly been shoehorned in at the last minute due to fan outcry, and the way they shoot it and film it, it's dead on arrival. The most important scene of the movie, Rafiki teaching Simba to learn from the past, is no longer there. All of these issues result in a really big pacing issue where there's less material in a longer runtime, meaning honestly, I was just really bored watching The Lion King. Also, as much as I love the original movie, the biggest story issue is that when Simba returns and Scar makes the Pride think that Simba killed Mufasa, the Pride turns on him, and it's only when Scar comes out and reveals that he killed Mufasa do the Pride accept Simba. Basically, this contradicts the entire message of the film. Don't get me wrong, I love The Lion King, but that's a massive issue in terms of story. Unfortunately, in this remake, it's basically unchanged. In other words, the one narrative issue this film could have altered and changed to make the story better overall, it just flat out ignores and doesn't do. Just, what's the point of all this? Yeah, the voice cast is strong, though Donald Glover and Beyonce are easily the weak links. They both sound really unenthusiastic, which means the love story is completely lacking in legitimacy. But on the other end of the scale, I really liked Chiwetel Ejiofor as a more understated but equally sinister Scar. Timon and Pumbaa are a lot of fun. The score, the music, it still holds up. It's just... what's the point here? This isn't a case of aiming high and failing, this is a case of Disney committing to a self-defeating and limiting approach to filmmaking, expanding a story's length without expanding its content, and removing either iconic imagery and important sequences, and not compensating for it. Thousands of VFX artists worked their asses off in this film, but those in charge of steering the ship towards somewhere worthwhile just didn't seem to bother. The artists did incredible work, but it's hard to appreciate it when you're not engaging with the characters on screen or empathizing with their struggles or admiring the world around them being filmed. And this is really disappointing. I love Jon Favreau as a director. Like I said, I adored his version of The Jungle Book, but The Lion King easily stands as the guy's weakest film, and that's a shame because it will likely become his most commercially successful. I don't want his career going the way of Tim Burton under the Disney umbrella. Yeah, this remake is going to make $1 billion and they'll make a dozen more of these, but guys, come on. The Lion King is on DVD and Blu-ray for the same price, if not cheaper, than a single movie ticket. It's better in literally every way and is more economical. Just don't bother. Outside of the underpaid VFX artists and the voice actors, everyone else involved in this film didn't. I give The Lion King remake 2 stars out of 5.
You must take your place in the circle of life.
Trilbee, 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 Trilbee.